Hi, and welcome to Promo Insiders, a counselor podcast that covers what matters most to the promotional products industry, from hard-hitting news to fun trends. Today, I'm Teresa Hagel, Executive Editor of Digital Content with ASI, and today I'm joined by Ryan Sowers, owner of Sowers Consulting Strategies. Today we're going to be talking about branding during the pandemic and just some strategies and different things you can use to kind of stay top of mind with your clients, with potential clients, just keeping yourself out there. But before we get started, I just wanted to give a shout out to Maple Ridge Farms because they've very generously offered 3 coffee cakes. And so what we're going to do is 3 lucky commenters during this Facebook Live will be able to get one of these yummy coffee cakes sent to them. So I'm hoping that will inspire some lively conversation. I think this is a really good topic. And I think we'll have a lot to talk about. So thank you guys so much for joining me, and let's get started, Ryan.
Yeah, Teresa, thanks. Great idea, and super glad to be here. It's an important topic, and the snacks sound yummy.
I know, right? I wish I could
Right.
have one,
I know,
but
right?
yeah. But I'm excited that other people will be able to enjoy that. So
Yeah.
I guess so. We're talking about branding. Um, what is like branding really kind of like mean to you, and why is it so important like right now at this moment?
So go back in time. You and I were talking off air. In 2015, I wrote, "Would you buy from you? Your brand makes the difference." And I would talk about your brand makes the difference. And I would say right now, your brand is the difference.
Hmm.
You know, there are companies I'm watching reinvent themselves in a number of ways. They're using new. They might have never used Zoom or had a podcast or had a show or done Facebook Live or whatever, but they're using it. They're getting out there. They're trying to serve,
Hmm.
not sell. So they want to be. We want people that are serving, not selling. And so our brand is what we've developed to all these years we've had of our life. And right now, when you have kind of a captured audience in all these different places, it's just imperative that we're out, serving and paying it forward, and not
Hmm.
just seeing what we can sell somebody, because no one's ever wanted that, but especially right now, no one wants that.
People want like comfort right now. I think people want things that are easy. People want to feel like somebody cares about them. They want an ear to listen to them, stuff like that, I think.
They do. I think my wife's an educator, and she was just saying today. She said, "Ryan, the way you," I was telling, like you and I were talking about before air. It's just been a crazy week,
Hmm.
coming off of a nice Labor Day weekend. But everybody, I think, feels a certain sense of emotion. We've no one's ever in our lifetimes, unless you're 125 years old, lived through so many changes that are going on, and this will be studied forever. So marketing doesn't stop, branding doesn't stop. But yeah, our emotions are at the core. We may be frustrated, we may be lonely, we may be tired, we may be, scared, we may be isolated. And if you're the person that adds one more thing to that, that might just light the fuse, and set them over the edge. And I think right now the brand has to become beside somebody and encourage them, and try to smile, even if you have a mask on, smile so that they know, hey, we're all in this together.
Well, I mean, speaking of masks, obviously a lot of people in the promotional industry have kind of pivoted to that. And I've seen people make some really fun masks, like ones that say like, "This is my smile," or have like a smile on it. So there's even ways with the masks to kind of put your brand message out there, or make it kind of like connect with people, even with
Yeah,
a mask on.
yeah. I think I'm wearing maybe a Sanmar shirt. Matter of fact, so they guess. But in all seriousness, I tried to get a Nike mask. I do wear a lot of Nike stuff, and the Nike mask just didn't fit my big head, Teresa. So I'm wearing like an Under Armour one, which I actually really like. And but yeah, I mean, it's just weird as humans, where you and I can see each other, and we're kind of, can smile back and forth. I was at the Lowe's hardware store, and this kind lady had helped me and my wife move this big barn doors we did about a month ago. She worked so hard. And at the very end, I said, "Hey, I want to tell you, thank you. I am smiling under this mask you can't see." And she said, "Y'all were so great to work with. I'm smiling too and sweating, but you can't see it." And that's, it's weird because we're humans. I mean, we're made to see facial expressions. We're it's just hard to get our minds around all this stuff.
Hmm.
But we will get to the other side. And this is
Yeah.
what we're going to talk about in our session today. People that are already thinking that way and working each day towards it are going to be the ones standing strong when we get to the other side.
Yeah, and I see a couple of people have commented just saying hi. So hi Daniel, hi Katie. Thank you guys for joining us today. It's I'm excited to talk about this. So what are some things that companies can do right now to reinforce their branding and kind of stay engaged with their clients?
Um, I want to start broad first. I think you and I have actually talked about this a little bit. Is every business really needs to think of themselves as a new business right now?
Mhm.
I've seen companies across the print and promo specters that I know. Some of them have pivoted, like you said, towards making masks or making PPE or serving other people and knowing the brand. Your brand is built on trust. It's built on your reputation, your attributes, your distinctiveness. Your handshake means something. So if you look truly, it's what I call a book I'm thinking about writing, Selling Without Selling. You're not looking for, hey, if I come and talk to Teresa for an hour, I'm going to get X, or and that's just not the way. It's never the way to think about it. But right now, it's saying, what can I give? What can I do? Who can I help? A young friend, who I'm friends with, his mother, and she had taught, you know, church preschool for years to when my kids were little. Her son is now out of college and he's looking for a job, and he's, like a lot of people are. And I quickly connected him with the CEO of a big southeastern company, and they've expedited it through the steps. And he was just sent me an email, thank you so much. But I
Mhm.
didn't do that for anything more than it's the right thing to do. Help people, and if you do the next right thing, good things are going to happen. I mean, people don't forget, right?
Mhm. Oh yeah, for sure. Well, I'm curious too about anyone that's listening right now. Do you guys have any examples of things that you're doing differently during the pandemic, things that have been working for you, or ways that you've kind of been reaching out to your clients? So if you have anything, just feel free to type it out in the comments, and we'll kind of give it a shout out. Um, but what about like what are some things that you've seen like brands doing? Like, do you have any examples of like of good things like big brands, small brands, just good stuff that's been happening during the last few months?
Yeah, I think that, I've watched everything from a, restaurant, pizza, carry out, talking about, contactless pickup,
Mhm.
simplicity. I watched go back to Nike and Nike ads showing multiple factors that are going on in our world right now, social change and, economy, and we're in a presidential year. I mean, we have so many things that are changing. It's almost mind boggling. So the
Right.
big brands are saying, we're here for you. We care about you. We want to make business easier. I'll tell you
Mhm.
something interesting, Teresa. I have to take a flight in late October, which I'm assuming, I think, for what I'm doing is going to be okay. Still not 100% there, but we're going to see. But the big airlines I looked at, a couple of them are just steadfast, keeping the open seats open. Got to
Mhm.
wear a mask. Got to wear a mask everywhere. And here's where they pivoted. They now say, hey, if you need to change your flight an hour before for any reason, no charge. And
Yeah,
that's the
yeah.
stuff we had gotten. That's the way it used to be, but it was become like, charge an arm and a leg for
Right,
something
right.
simple, right?
Right. Like just last year, you couldn't even imagine an airline, giving up that change fee. That would have been unheard of.
So, what is the lesson there? These big brands are saying, hey, what really matters is not our big brand name. It's the people on the phone. It's this, I'll give a shout out, AT&T. I went around and around and around with wireless in my house, and it didn't matter how many people came out. They couldn't solve the problem. We kept going through the phones and all this kind of stuff. Long story short, I ended up tweeting to him, and I got to the president's office, and I can't tell you who the guy is, but he's wonderful. And it was all resolved in like 3 or 4 hours. It wasn't that complicated, but it took a person to person approach where he goes, okay, I can see where you've gone through the same thing 85 times. That's what an airline like Delta, who's the one I
Mhm.
booked today, they have not done this in years. They have said, you know what, Ryan, you want to change it? You're not flying as much as you used to. You're going to pay the piper. Now it's like, hey, look. So, how's that going to look a year or two from now? Will they stick with those same things, or will they go back the other way? That's going to be interesting.
Right, right. I mean, but at least for now, we don't have to do that. I see a couple more comments are coming in.
Yep.
Walter Kurt says that he started his own Zoom show in March, and he's up to 90 episodes. And he's
Nice.
actually, yeah, actually picked up business from it. Um, Yeah, and I think that's a really good point. Like people are at home, people are starving for content. So if you have like some expertise or if you have content to share, I think this is the perfect time to be doing that. So I think that's great, Walter. Definitely, um, Zoom shows. I know personally at ASI, we've been doing a lot more like podcasts and things like that, and people have responded to it. So I think that's awesome. Let's see, I have
Yeah,
another.
I want to touch real quick. I want to touch
Yeah,
on Walter's thing.
yeah.
I It's what he did is exactly very true. That's great, Walter. That's fantastic. I'd done a couple of Facebook lives and back in March, I guess it was early March, and it ended up launching this thing called the Community Connections Show, which is a video show and now a podcast. We've done 51. So you've been hard at work. 51. I feel like I'm tired. Um, but that allowed people for some other stuff I do locally to get more exposure. So I was
Mhm.
adding value that way to my clients. So that's fantastic. I'm sorry. Now we'll look at what does Katie
Katie,
say?
Katie Taylor says multi-touch approach, phone calls to just check in and see how clients are,
Yeah.
handwritten notes, and the traditional methods. Yeah, I think that's really great too, because it's not about like you have to be in touch with your clients, but it is sometimes just about like checking in on how they're doing, not to tell them, not even to tell them like, hey, we have these new products, but just to say, how are you doing? Like what's going on in your life?
Right. I love that approach, Katie. I've been talking about it for years. I mean, you're in the 1% that writes a handwritten note, and it's so easy to do. And it's even when tell people to do it, sometimes I just shoot an email instead, and that's
Hmm.
just silly. I mean, because people want
Yeah.
the personal touch, but people are starved for the personal touch right now. So what you're doing right now is you're keeping your name in front of them, and you're not trying to sell them anything. You're trying
Yeah.
to see how they're doing as a human person who
Hmm.
has a lot more than just buying things. We all wear a lot of hats beyond what
Yeah.
we do for a living.
I mean, yeah, that personal touch, that handwritten note, that makes a huge difference. Actually, we had a summer intern this year. She had to be remote. She was in California. We're in Pennsylvania. So it was a big challenge, but I know she actually sent a bunch of the people that worked with her like handwritten thank you notes, which you think of like I guess she's not millennials anymore. I guess it's Generation Z that's in college.
Gen Z,
But
yeah,
yeah, Gen Z.
that's
So
my
you
kids, yeah.
know, they don't quite have the bad rep that the millennials do, but you don't always think of like a college student, actually taking the time to send a note. So that really makes a big difference, I think.
Well, this young
Whoever
man I
does
was talking about, the college graduate, Teresa,
that.
he's just graduated college, and he took time to write a very professional email asking questions, and then took time to remind me. I just said, keep me posted of what was progressing. Hey, the recruiter talked to me, and now I'm talking to the COO, and things are looking good. And I was like, great. Let me know if I can help in any way. But I was very impressed by that
Yeah,
because I couldn't remember. I wouldn't have remembered if I knew I helped him, but I asked him to follow up, and he did.
yeah.
So the importance of follow up, I see we got another one, is essential because right now people are struggling in every part of their life, and they want to feel appreciated and needed and encouraged because we all
Mhm.
need that.
Oh, definitely. So we have some comments from Danielle Lum. She says that she's been mailing some things for clients, sometimes a gift and another handwritten note. COVID playing cards, coloring books to help pass the time, and koozies because we all deserve a drink. That is so true.
Absolutely.
I like that. I like the
Absolutely.
COVID playing cards. I know that's like playing cards, coloring books, puzzles, all those things that we can do in our house have been huge. I know I've been doing a ton of puzzles myself at home. So I think that if you can send like cool branded things that people will actually use, they definitely appreciate that.
They do, and they're gonna remember it. This
Mhm.
time, even, still, you have things that you would have gone and now you're on Zoom or you're on Facebook Live or whatever. But when someone continues, what you're doing is fantastic, Danielle, is you're making them feel important. You're having some fun. You're bringing a smile to their face, and if there's ever a time we need a laugh or we need to relax, it's right now. And so if we can be the salespersons and marketers who say, is it going to be okay? How can I help you? How can I make you smile? How can I take some off your plate? That's the secret. I mean, the
Yeah,
secret is there's no secret, right?
right.
You need a breath of you need a deep cleansing breath. We all do.
Yeah, and I mean, I think just that the whole idea, so many people are working from home. So sending those work from home kind of like kits or just getting something in the mail, like a little package that just it's very special. Like if it's whether it's like an employee appreciation thing or just sending it to clients to like let them know, hey, we care about you. That makes a huge difference. Um, So we talked about some of these good things that people are doing, but what about like missteps? What are some branding missteps right now? I think one like major thing is company. I think like obviously money is tight right now for almost every business, but one thing they should not be, and you have to cut the budget, right? But one thing I think that shouldn't be cut is marketing, right? Like that is, it's more important than ever to be marketing to people. So I think there's a lot of companies that did cut it, and I think that might be a mistake. I mean, what's your take? What do you think some branding missteps are?
People still to this day, say, what's my expense for XYZ when it refers to marketing? And then, we
Mhm.
know the answer is this an investment, right? Investment.
Right.
And so, I can't remember the name that earlier said he'd done the 90 shows. People are asking about this show, or I have a Marketing Matters radio show doing Atlanta that becomes a podcast. And I have so many shows. They're like, we don't know what show are you even talking about? But my whole point is I'm trying to help them get exposure. And I think a couple of things wrong, or there's people that have cut marketing, and so maybe they just have a couple salespeople, and the salespeople are hard pressing, like, hard LinkedIn messaging. What can you buy from them? How can I be on your show? I mean, it's all about them. I mean, it's all about.
Right.
I mean, I had one person that reached out to me, and I brought him on a show, and then literally it was just. Once they got the exposure, they didn't want to even respond back. I don't understand people that are looking for those transactional things. What also is bad, cutting back marketing, because when people can get out and celebrate and be free to see the movies they want and do it, and all this stuff is slowly opening, it's the people that have been all along keeping their name out there. And I've told a bunch of my clients in my different businesses, this is not the time, to your point, to duck and hide. This is not the time to duck and hide and go, well, hopefully in 2021 things will get better, because there will be people that will fill those spaces where you've been, and you will
Hmm.
be irrelevant.
Right.
And
Right.
and there's too many of them. I mean, we all think of big companies, but small companies, well, money's tight. And I get it. We all get it. But you've got to make strategic, intelligent decisions and be bold, be
Right.
big or go home,
Right.
and I can't stress it enough. Hiding out and just trying to slink by. This is the time to get your message out, because you've got a wide open audience. And a matter of fact, Teresa, last thing I'll say is, when we do come to the other side, human beings are going to be hardwired differently. And a topic I would have given in March probably is going to be pretty irrelevant come January 2021. It's going to be how we came through this time, or what we learned, or getting back to some of the basics. That's how we have to be thinking as marketers right
Hmm.
now. And remember, we're not on some vacation because we're working from home. I
Right.
see too
Right.
much. I see too much of that, and that scares me for businesses.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. We got
That's
a couple more comments. Business is built on relationship first. That's what Jane Bishop says.
she's
That's totally true. Of course.
Jane's the
And
co-host of my Marketing Matters shows. Hi, Jane.
oh,
And
okay.
Jane's a great. If you want to look her up, she's a great coach. She coaches me a lot, so I can vouch for her. Honestly, can vouch for her. All right, what
Yeah,
does
and I mean
Melissa
that's
say?
something we always talk about is relationship. This is a relationship business, not just, and you're not just selling products. You're building relationships with people. Danielle Lum says that she totally agrees on being bold. There's no time to hide and rest, for sure. Yeah, and I mean, like, it's definitely hard. I've been working from home for the last, I guess, what it's been 5 or 6 months, and it's definitely hard to find that balance, and turn and switch off. But yeah, the one thing you don't want to do is to be switched off, too much, because there's still plenty of work to do, and it is not a vacation. Um, so you say, let's see, you don't want to duck and hide. Another thing I think we had talked about previously was just that you have to be trying new things, right? Like,
Yeah.
you can't, like, a lot of people, I think another mistake people make is like waiting for things to go back to normal. Like, what is normal going to be? Is there really going we talk about that new normal a lot, you know what I mean? So you can't just
Yeah.
be waiting and waiting for things to go back to normal. You have to
Yeah.
adapt to what's
Yeah,
happening now.
Teresa. I mean, if I hear the word pivot or new normal one more time, one of my friends, great marketer, said that to me in early March. He used the word pivot. First time I heard it, I've heard it about 8 million times since then, and it's an applicable term. Whatever the new normal looks like, Ryan. Well, the new normal I, is going to look like this. As I get to the last two classes before my dissertation, my doctorate in leadership, it's going to be humans have been hardwired in every part of their life, their jobs, their families, where they work, what they do, wearing masks. I mean, attention all across, economic hardship, businesses, jobs being lost. So things are going to be very different. Humans will
Hmm.
never not seek relationships and trust with other humans. I mean, that's just the fundamental way we're wired. The day we can, not just give somebody an air hug,
Hmm.
we're not gonna forget that. But people are gonna be cautious for a while, and there's gonna be people say, I don't want to get on an airplane for a while. And there's gonna be people say, I'd rather do Zoom than have to go to that meeting in person. Things are gonna change. Life changes, businesses change. Change is good.
Yeah,
Humans don't like change, but the new normal is going to be change. I mean, it will. We're still human. We're still going to do that, but you cannot come out of an extended period like this of 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 months and go, oh yeah, we're going to go back. What does that look like? We just changed a little bit and we use Zoom now. No. Kids have been out of school for extended periods of time. Parents have been multitasking. Stresses have been mounted up. We're going to see a lot of positive, hopefully positive, but possibly negative change, and that'll play a role in the business world.
for sure. Oh, I see. This is a really good comment from Walter Kurt about how it's not normal. We've moved on from normal. It's the next. I like that.
Yeah,
It's the
yeah,
next thing.
I agree.
Oh, we have a question too from Vin, who is our one of the social media gurus at ASI, but he wants to know how crucial social media is to building your brand during the pandemic. And I would say it's essential, right? Like, especially if people are stuck at home. This is the way we're communicating.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know anybody right now. If I guess maybe there's that 10% on the bell curve on each side that likes all the divisive news.
Mhm.
But all the stuff that you watch is really depressing more than ever. So
Mhm.
this is where people are getting positive things and creating new shows and creating new content. We've heard content marketing for years, but how do we put a show on? I mean, I told my wife at the beginning of March, I already did a lot of stuff in the public atmosphere, but I said, you're going to see a lot of me everywhere because I'm going to triple down on getting positive messages out. And I mean, yeah, I mean, using it through every channel. So the people that are bringing new ideas like next,
Mhm.
it's not new normal, it's next. What's next? Um, that's how we have to be thinking. And if we look at this and say, you know what, I had been asking Teresa, my audiences for years, we're slammed, we're buried, we're drowning, we don't have enough time, we don't have enough time. And all of a sudden, here's the question: we did have enough time. So my question is, what did we do with this time? And
Right.
if we've taken this time and reflected as human beings, we've reflected on our business, we've thought of new ideas, we've tried new ideas, we may flat out come out stronger because of this, because we had time to slow down for a moment.
Hmm.
And sort of like after 9/11, but 9/11 didn't last that long. We had time to kind of just take a deep breath. And I'm very hopeful. Hopefully people are looking at it this way. But if they're not, I encourage them today to begin and start looking at things they can implement, do, and get their name out there. And social media, yes, I mean, is anybody can be on social media, and they follow you because you have a brand or you have information people want to hear or share.
Yeah, and I mean I think another big point of how this is, the next thing is just that so much business is going to be, I mean, it was already moving that way, but now so much business is going to be online. E-commerce is bigger than ever because people, either for a while couldn't go to the stores or now maybe are a little bit more reticent of just going to shop at the mall or whatever. So if your business is not online and is not, and if you don't make it easy for them to buy things, online, I think you're going to be at a real disadvantage.
Absolutely. I'm
Uh,
looking at our comments. Let me see.
yeah, we got a lot. Everybody wants that
We
coffee
do.
cake.
Yeah, you
But
do.
no, everyone,
I,
these are all some really good
well, you're
observations.
working on your marathon, and I'm working on my own plan, so we're exempt from the coffee cake. But
That's
this is
right.
delicious coffee cake. So okay. What do we have?
No, so Allison Koska says now's the time to think about implementing a niche or disruptor strategy. And there's so many opportunities out there. So, like, what kind of niches, you know, would you say there are? Like, what are some things that people are working on? And anyone in the comments who wants to chime in, that's awesome too.
Yeah, I mean, you just have to look at it. I mean, I've decided to add, and who knows, Teresa, this is fun. Maybe we'll do this, do this again. But my idea is, you have video snippets I put out, and I put those on pause. Ryan's remarks. I'm gonna start doing that. We're back to the Marketing Matters show, locally some magazines. I'm gonna use some opportunities to do virtual trainings, the things I have to share, some new speech ideas. It's just my brain's revving at 600 miles an hour. Seriously, of just opportunity. So whoever said
Mhm.
that, I think this
Al- Allison.
Allison. You're right. I mean, there are people, Allison, standing around, and I watch them, and they literally. I don't know how to say this the right way, but I get the feeling that people just kind of feel like they're kids in high school, and it's just been a really long summer. And I'm kind of going, and they're always asking me, why can't you go do this? Why? Because I'm that dialed in and focused. You got to get your rest. You got to have your family time. You've got to get your exercise and all that kind of stuff. But on business, if you're not like totally analyzing every part, top, side, left, back, 360s, you need to be like today. And the
Yeah.
people I know that I
Yeah.
admire and respect have been doing this for the last 5 to 6 months and going, how do we, how do we pivot? I hate to use and make our brand even bigger
Mhm.
than it was before, because we will eventually come back to face and conferences and events. But there will
Mhm.
be people that don't come back that'll say, we're just going to tune in virtually. And that's just the reality.
Yeah, and I mean, another thing is, since we're talking about the pivoting again and kind of going back to the idea of masks and PPE. So obviously, I think everyone knows like that's not going to last forever, and I think there's some signs of that need tapering off a little bit as just it's a for a while like nobody could get it anywhere. Now you can go anywhere and get masks and PPE. But the point is that maybe if you were the person that was if someone found you for the masks you're making, maybe when they need t-shirts, in a few months, they'll be like, oh, that person really helped me out during the pandemic and got me those t-shirts right away. Or I mean, not masks, got me the masks right away.
Right.
Maybe they'll do the same for t-shirts or for whatever it is that's your core normal product.
People want to support brands that stand for something. They
Mm,
stand for a cause. In other words, I remember early on a package store had opened up. I'm in Atlanta, and they had opened up like 2 months before the stuff hit. So they quickly, what did we need in the beginning? Hand sanitizer. They started making, say, if you come into our store, big thing of hand sanitizer. And I mean, this stuff smells like you're putting vodka on your hands. I mean, but what they did is they brought people in, but the people that were addressing needs, because there was none, and people were like, you need hand sanitizer, you need to wash your hands, but if you can't, um, exactly. People doing the PPE. Yeah. When you think about who to support, they're going to say, those guys are always giving back, especially during this time. We watched them give back time and time again.
yeah, yeah.
I see it locally with my magazines. We write a story on somebody, not because they asked us to, but because we can help get them exposure. Their loyalty's through the roof. And it's about paying it forward
Hmm.
and just doing the right thing, keeping your name out there, and people don't forget, especially during
Hmm.
this time, the people that are out there making things happen, and the people hiding in the and creating chaos by being toxic on social media, whatever. I mean, that this is not the time for that. Never
Hmm.
is the time for that, but especially not now.
Right. Well, it's hard to avoid, but you can. I think as the other, we did another Facebook Live maybe like last week about social media and how you can kind of sanitize your feed. So if you haven't seen that one, you should go back and check that out because that addressed a lot of really good content there. And another thing I think too is just a lot of uh, like t-shirt shops I'm thinking of, but like promotional products, like a whole bunch of people like during the pandemic came up with like fundraisers for the businesses that had to shut down, which I think, that was great just in the moment because it kind of, was bringing revenue to these businesses that weren't able to get it, bringing revenue to the t-shirt shops and promotional products distributors that weren't getting it. But it's also positioning yourself for the future because again, they're going to remember who was the person that came up with this idea, who was helping me get through this time. Now that things are better, I'm going to go back to them for my needs. So,
Right.
and
And
it's not necessarily about that. Like you said, it's not about doing that, but the fact is that that's what people are going to remember that.
and I've seen, I'll just use Atlanta, some communities I've seen, people are just saying, and I've told everybody, supporting small businesses. And you know, those guys that are have t-shirts or pens or umbrellas or whatever that have been constantly checking in with their customers, or, sending them stuff to make them smile, or writing them a handwritten note like we discussed earlier. Um, at the end, when we get to the other side, as long as the price is somewhat competitive, price is not going to be the deciding factor. It's going to be hey, these guys actually made a difference in people's lives, and we want to pay it back to them, and that's always the way reciprocity works with humans. If you do something for me, I feel the need to do that back to you. That's been studied, but especially when we've had all this time to remember day by day, hour by hour, kind of like Groundhog Day. You notice the people out there that are doing these things, and so yeah, and when they don't, the mask and stuff, or we're good on, people won't forget seeing the pictures of them meeting the needs of people, and want to support them back.
Yeah, for sure. So talking about like the future, I know when we had spoken last, I was writing an article about kind of how to plan for 2021. When there's so much that's uncertain. So what are some things that people can be doing to kind of position themselves for next year? And
Well,
what are some steps they can take now?
I mean, I anticipate, if I had to make a gut guess, I anticipate, with schools, when watching the things I get to see locally and hear about, we're going to have probably, when flu season comes back, you might have an uptick again in this stuff. I expect by Thanksgiving and Christmas, human beings are going to be so starved to be back together that they may just say, I don't need to be around my elderly parent, but it's been too long since I've been able to give them a hug.
Mhm.
And I think we're just going to start getting to a point, to the other side where we're going, you know what? I miss seeing my, best friend and this and that, and I got to spend more time with them. And I guess getting to such where we're more scared of not having the things we feel that have been taken from us than of COVID.
Mhm.
And I anticipate, people trying to really take some downtime at the end of the year, and whether it's traveling domestically or whatever we're allowed to do, trying to get back to realizing, what, there's life is short. Even if I have a lady I profiled in a local magazine. She turned 100 today, 100 years old
Wow.
today.
Wow.
Believe it or not. I just remembered that as I was saying that. She's seen a lot in her lifetime, and her message was so sad. I mean, so exciting. But you know what she said, Teresa? She says what she sees in today's world makes her so sad. She grew up during the Great Depression, and she saw barely had food on the table, whatever. But she said what she's seeing in our country makes her so sad. So what's the antidote to that for brands? Encouragement, exciting, it's easy to do business with,
Mhm.
stress-free, convenient, adding value, making, those relationships, whatever. That's People are going to be starved for that, and it's just important to say, how are we going to be, are we using email marketing, are we using social media stuff, are we using a podcast, are we using a blog, or whatever we're doing, how are we getting our name out, and not just talking about what we sell, but talking about, how are they feeling, like we're doing
Mhm.
today. And I think that's how we have to prepare, because there's no roadmap. We don't know how the election's going to go and what's going to happen after that. But we do know people are frustrated, and they're longing for getting back to the things they love. And if we address those needs, we're going to do really well as sales and
Mhm.
marketing people.
Yeah, yeah. And I think Katie Taylor just mentioned, yeah, adding value. That's something that we definitely need to do, add value to people's
W-
experiences, to people's lives. Like, what are some ways that brands can add value?
I mean, adding value is the key. I mean, and like I said, in that second book I read, "The What You Buy from You, Your Brand Makes a Difference." I said, price is price. Value is price plus your services, goods and services, plus you. So in other words, you got your price, your services or goods, whatever you're doing, plus yourself. What do you bring to the equation? So not what does your company do? I mean, your company is your company, but as you bring something to the equation as well. And people remember how you talk to them, how you treat them. Do you return their call? Do you respond to their email? Do you have to, they have to ask you the same question 6 times for you to go yes, and you're like, yes to which question? I wrote you four, and so that's how we prepare. And we know human beings are human beings, and human beings are going to be scarred and strained through this time. But we also know human beings are resilient, and we're going to come out stronger. And the people that can make you laugh, the people that can inspire you, the people that can bring you a good idea, that's the people that are going to be getting the business.
Mhm.
Um, that's just the way it's going to work. Even speaking, things are going to change with speakers that get booked, because people who have different messages and have changed the way they look at things, audiences are now going to want to hear different things than they would have even 6 months ago. So
Yeah.
everybody's being forced to look at what they're doing and say, how do I fit XYZ audience or target market that I'm after its needs, and what do they need? Maybe I need to do a phone interview with them and ask them what I could do to make their life easier. There's some things can be quite simple. We can go back to basics, and make it easy. But
Mhm.
those are the kind of things we got to be doing for 2021, so we're well poised. Um, no matter what deck of cards
Yeah, yeah.
are come
Yeah,
out,
maybe
right?
it's a promotional deck of COVID cards that are being sent in the
I
mail.
love that idea. That's
I
cute,
know.
and it makes
Yeah,
you laugh, and people
yeah.
need to laugh, man. What does
Mhm.
Jane say?
When you add value, you're practicing communicate to connect, and when we connect where they are, we bring value.
Yeah, spot on, Jane. Um, and that's Jane has some Jainisms, and she talks about alignment or being purposeful or whatever you're doing. It's one time I saw her. She was in her yard pulling weeds and said, "What weeds are growing up during this time we've been home for 6 months?" So every person, no matter if you're a business owner, it's your first day on the job, you're graduating college, has an opportunity in front of them. It's, do you take advantage of it? There's no restrictions on this thing, Teresa, called a brand. And there's no
Mhm.
restrictions. I mean, like you said earlier, with social media and all these ways, we didn't have to go to a national broadcasting company to get on air at 3:30,
Mhm.
and people are tuning in, and then if it happens again, probably more people are going to tune in. That's just how it works. But you have to have information, and you got to share it, and it needs to be inspiring and helpful. And anybody can do that. It's just where they come from in their stage of life and how they want to relate to the audience that they're trying to target.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Um, so I think kind of we can start wrapping up. I think we brought a lot of good points, but mainly the strategies you need to have right now with branding are to keep investing in marketing, even though your budget might be slashed. Marketing is a huge thing. You need to be human, be caring, and be like reaching out to your clients, not to sell them stuff, but to find out how they're doing. And in the course of that, maybe there is things that they need to buy, but the key point is to stay in touch with them and let them know that you care about uh, what they're doing. And then you have to be online, whether it's for social media, having a good like e-commerce solution. You have to be where the people are, and where the people are right now is online. Um, and another big point that you mentioned was think like a startup. So you have to be able to, pivot or make new plans, try new things, kind of be scrappy like you were when you started out. Oh, we have another couple of good comments. Allison says to add value,
Yeah, let's
offer
hear 'em.
marketing services, find their biggest challenge right now and how you can help with it. Offer to help with virtual event planning, even if it's a challenge. That's true. Like this is new territory for all of us. So I think people are a lot more forgiving than they ever were. Like I know personally, like as a working mom, it's really hard to be working at home while my daughter is going to school. But if she like pops up, in the middle of a Zoom call, nobody minds. You know what I mean? Like if she was there the whole time, it might be a little frustrating. But if she pops up to ask for like a snack, it's not the worst thing in the world. So it's like we all have to we're all a little bit more forgiving. So why not try something new? Um,
And I just want to say, Teresa, I've been preaching for years. People want to see authenticity. They want to see transparency. They want to see genuine. For years I've done this series, like I said before, called Ryan's Remarks, and I decided the other day when I start recording them again, they're gonna be a hair bit longer, and I'm gonna just have a video editor edit them down. But genuinely, before I would just do a 2 minute talk, cut up the front and end, and it is what it is. My point is, when if your information's good, or your kid comes on the screen, or your cat, starts scratching at your window, that shows you're human. I mean, and this goes back to what I was talking a lot about before the pandemic, human to human. I mean, so now human to human, which was such a topic I was speaking about, which was crazy because I think everybody, even the most introverted person in the world, is going, you know what, I miss this, or I miss going to the movie, or I miss
yep,
sitting. And if we meet those needs and remember, like you said, you or me, being a dad or a business owner or a husband, those are all different roles. You're out working on your marathon, and you have kids, and you have your job. Everybody we're selling or marketing to is in the same boat, and they don't just sit there like an old weeble wobble and go, I just buy promotional products all day.
right.
And we got to look at them holistically and really have empathy and caring and be really about what's best for them. Even if you don't get the immediate order, if it's a new prospect, if you
Mhm.
show more caring than not, you'd be surprised how many people will stick with you. It's crazy. It's
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah. Yeah, and I think that it's a good point that people, they are holistic people, because you kind of have to, like, and I'm sure that people have tons of stories like this, like, maybe you were working with them like on a corporate level, but then they have some kind of like nonprofit that's near and dear to them, and they're doing a fundraiser, and so they turn to you. Do you know what I mean? Like, they're like, you may know them in one aspect, and if you're good to them that way, you might get, involved with them in a whole other aspect of their lives. But if you don't connect it with them on a human level, you would never know that.
It, it's it, yeah. What do we got?
Okay, we had some more comments I just wanted to mention.
Yeah,
Allison said, this is a really key one, I think: use promo to sell promo. And I think you're
yeah.
right. Like, I think people forget that a lot, but that's crucial, especially in our industry. Like, what better way to show that promotional products work than using them to
I mean,
sell and promote
there's my
yourself?
eye doctor. Well, everybody, when I say, the stuff, I'm just looking around my office right here, and you start looking at, I mean, it doesn't even take me far to. I'm sorry, but you find that everybody knows what promotional product items are, and they just work so well. So exactly, using those items and sending those to people to keep your name in front of them. What better way to kill two birds with one stone? Because
Yeah,
everybody loves this stuff. I mean, here's another one. One of the little fiber wraps. I mean,
yeah.
I'm just finding random things on my desk. But
Right. Well, it's
the people know them, and they.
yeah, I was going to say, we just released the ad impression study, which I think one of the things we found, that the average household has about 30 promotional products in it. Probably way more than that, to be honest.
I think my house might win, since I'm looking like 1 yard of space and I found like seven. No, seriously, but it doesn't take anybody hard to say, that industry, the brand identity products, and like, oh yeah, we love that stuff. And you know, things will get back. There will be conventions and stuff again. There will be, show booths and education. But in the interim, everybody has opportunity. Walter says, understanding patients and partnerships. Absolutely. Understanding patients and partnerships. Right now, we have to be patient with people. We have to be, I can't. I have 4 Ps. I can't think of them all. But give people patience. Show some people grace, and realize that maybe what you say to them was the thing that just pushed them over the edge today. But that's because they're a human being,
Mhm.
not a widget in a chair, wherever they're working from, who's going online going, how much for 100 of these? That's putting, them in far too simplistic ways. We're not like that, and nor are our prospects or customers.
Right, right. Um, So I think we're gonna wrap it up, but this has been really good. I'm so glad that everyone chimed in with some great discussion points. Hopefully people got something out of this. I know, actually, I got things out of it myself.
Me
So
too. Me
I'm
too.
glad that everyone joined in, and that we had a chance to talk about branding. So we'll just wrap it up. Again, I'm Teresa Hegel, the executive editor of digital content at ASI, and today I was talking with Ryan Sowers of Sowers Consulting Strategies. And again, we have the coffee cakes from Maple Ridge Farm. I will be in touch with a couple of lucky people who did this lively discussion today, and you'll get a coffee cake. So that's pretty awesome. All
Well,
right,
Teresa, it's been great to be here, and you asked so many awesome questions. And hey, as this thing continues to evolve, we can do it again sometime, because it's important, and people need to hear this and keep their head up and know that they're doing the best they can. I'm proud of them. We're proud of them, and we shoulder to shoulder. We're all going to get to the other side of this, and people need to hear that.
definitely, for sure. All right, thank you guys so much for coming today.